All my life, I would say that it was my goal to be the very best musician and conductor that I could possibly be. And so I think my preparation through my young age of playing the violin and the many opportunities I had paved the way for me to achieve that. So once I began my career of teaching, I chose to do things that would direct my paths and provide opportunities so that I could become the very best that I knew I could be. During my teaching years, I had many great successes. I was able to travel around the country and perform in some of the best venues the United States has to offer. I made connections with some of the greatest choral directors in our country, and I felt very successful at what I was doing. In that pursuit, I chose to move to a new location where I would be able to continue my success of teaching and at some point work towards earning my doctorate in choral conducting. And so it took me and my family to San Antonio, Texas. I guess I would consider that time of my life, that year, a wilderness journey, like the Israelites in the wilderness of God, testing them and showing them who He was and His direction for their lives. And He demonstrated that to me during that time of my life, my family's life. While in San Antonio, God just did a work in my life and in my wife's life and all of my family, and redirected my paths, redirected our paths to pursue full-time ministry in the church. In surrendering to that in my life, I felt that I was giving up the dreams and aspirations that I had always had from the earliest age I can remember. And it was very difficult to let that go. So coming to the church where I am, it was not something that I came to grips with quickly and easily. Even in beginning my ministry at our church, I still struggled with letting go of the thing that had gripped my life for so long. I knew that in pursuing full-time ministry and doing the thing that God had called me to do meant letting go of dreams that I had had for myself, like conducting all-state choirs, conducting large groups, having those opportunities. But the interesting thing is that when you surrender fully to God, sometimes He chooses to bless you with opportunities you never imagined possible. It was the weekend of my ordination. I had determined for myself that I was going to go all in with what God had called me to do. And that meant, for the last and final time, saying no to those things that I once thought were the direction of my life. So it was the same weekend as our All West Honor Choir concert that I had 2 students in. And this was an event that I had always participated in when I was teaching. I had students in it every year. And it was also an event that I had dreams of conducting at some point in my life as I continued to educate myself and become better at what I was doing. The weekend of All West, I had heard rumblings of the director being let go. And so jokingly I said, "Oh, sure, I'll fill in," not thinking that that would actually happen. So during that weekend, as I'm preparing for my ordination council, I'm studying my questions and trying to prepare my heart for the final chapter, closing the book on those things that I had spent my life pursuing, and opening a new chapter of ministry and being a minister of the gospel. And during that time, I was praying and just asking God to help me through that process. And as I completed that time with the Lord, I walked into a meeting where the director of the All West Honor Choir was let go, and I was asked to take that person's place. And I know that through that experience, maybe perhaps God honored my commitment to Him and said, now that you're willing to surrender everything to me, here you go. Here's a gift to come out of your obedience. And it was very powerful in my life at the time, and a testimony of God's faithfulness to us and our obedience to Him. Surrendering that in my life, I realized it's not just a one-time event that happened, but that surrender is daily and it's ongoing. And it takes practice. There are things that come along that I have to say no to, or that I know that is no longer who I am. So it's a constant surrender of service to the Lord.